Hello, this is Haku the Bean, and today we are going to entities 36 to 40 of the backrooms. I don't know exactly what these entities are going to be, but I know we're going to have a fun time. If you like this video, please leave a like on the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get right into this. Starting with Entity 36. Cannibal Cuisines. By the way, content warning, this entity contains mentions of cannibalism. Those unsettled by this topic may want to skip out on reading this page. Looks like it's probably going to be about a 5-minute read, so we'll probably skip ahead a few minutes. NCID 36. Habitats multiple. I'm not reading class tonight. And properties thing, I don't know what it means. Instances of ND36 are commonly found in levels with little to no food sources, such as levels 2 and 13, though they can still manifest in other levels. Description: NC36, more locally known as cannibal cuisine, refers to an anomalous type of vending machine found within the backrooms. Cannibal cuisines are about 6 feet tall, 4 feet wide, and 2.5 feet deep. Oftentimes, they adopt the look of various different front rooms brands. On the back of ND36, a tag can be read reading the following: Cannibal Cuisine Productions, Iris Family, from humans, by humans, for humans. As of now, no information is currently available about the Iris family or their goals, origins, and whether they actually exist within the backrooms or not. Cannibal cuisines have been shown to be extremely durable, capable of withstanding attacks from most weapons, with the exception of bottled lightning, which has appeared to moderately damage instances of Entity 36. Oh dear. It has been theorized that the use of multiple balls of lightning in a quick succession would be able to destroy a single cannibal cuisine. However, due to the rarity of these items, this strategy is not always viable. The cause behind the entity's resistance to most methods of assault and weakness towards electricity is unknown and currently being researched. Behaviors. At first glance, ND36 appears to be functionally identical to a modern vending machine with a few key differences. Firstly, cannibal cuisines don't require any amount of payment to operate it. Each product within the entity is tied to a pair of one letter and one number. There are two keypads on the machine, one containing a set of numbers, the other letters. Once one of each is selected, a product with the corresponding pairs will be released. To continue, instead of using rotating metal coils to release products, the machine uses a severed skeletal human hand, which pushes products to the front until one falls and is ready to be obtained by the user. Oh, here comes the part that people might not be comfortable with. Product materials and food options. All products from NC36 are made of a variety of human parts, including but not limited to flesh, circulatory organs, respiratory organs, blood, bone marrow, skin. The various products that cannibal cuisines can contain are generated seemingly at random. Some items may generate with plenty in stock, while others will only have one or two instances. The latter usually refers to products using organs vital to human survival, such as the heart and lungs. Records of encounters with the entity have noted the following items, including but not limited to a 4-inch wide block of flesh wrapped softly in a candy bar wrapper, a chip bag containing 10 to 15 chips made out of human bone marrow, a featureless bottle containing containing half a liter of blood, another featureless bottle containing blood, with the blood's properties being similar to soda, an entire heart, an esophagus splattered with blood, a a plastic bag with around 20 teeth within it, a small box containing 2 ears, a piece of flesh shaped to resemble a chicken leg, strips of skin doused in sugar. Ew. Every 12 hours, the products within a cannibal cuisine will all be instantaneously replenished, appearing out of thin air. Products that have not been taken and will simply remain inside. Product effects. All items produced by NZ36 contain an extremely high amount of dopamine that, when consuming any amount, could cause an inexplicable addiction for them. Addicted individuals devote themselves to obtaining as much food as they can from the cannibal cuisine, and are willing to risk their lives to do so. Wanderers affected by this addiction will often attempt to stay near the area in which they initially found the cannibal cuisine, to the point of refusing access to other levels, even if the level in question was safer. Multiple wanderers that are victims to the same instance of ND36 may also attempt to harm one another to ensure more food for themselves. Normal side effects of high amounts of dopamine include euphoria, binge eating, addiction, poor impulse control, and heightened aggressiveness. Besides generally inciting an extreme feeling of joy, products from cannibal cuisine also cause a few other effects, such as the complete and permanent removal of any prior memories pertaining to cannibal cuisines. Any further information on the entity is wiped from the victim's memories after an average of 4 hours. The inability to eat other sources of food and water, including almond water. Attempting to eat non-NC36 food items will result in the food remaining in the stomach and will not leave via digestion unless removed by other means. High blood pressure, heart disease, and a few other general symptoms caused by a large amount of sodium found inside the products. And increased hunger and thirst, regardless of the amount of food the victim has consumed. An excessive amount of metabolism, which leads to more issues such as increased weight loss, elevated heart rates, anemia, and fatigue. Slight increase in pain tolerance. Affected individuals may have claimed to hear voices emanating from cannibal cuisines, which become more prevalent during the machine's replenishment and the consumption of a product. These voices are often described as either blood-curdling screams, cries of agony, and or soft yet discomforting sobs. Most victims recall that these voices manifest in the form of a loved one from their past before entering the backrooms. Many victims of cannibal cuisines have attempted to quit the use of their products, but this is extremely difficult due to aforementioned effects. All recorded attempts to quit the products have failed due to starvation or lack of will to continue. Discovery. NZ36 sightings go as far back as March of 2020. However, the first time the MEG officially documented them was in August, when a group of NZ36 victims were observed and reported by a wandering traveler through level 13. Upon verification of the victims' identities and their testimonies, the source of the dilemma was found to be a nearby vending machine, where one observer made the mistake of eating a product from a cannibal cuisine and subsequently become afflicted with its effects. It was then that the entity was documented and classified. Notice, revision released 1 second ago. Let's view it. Notice, the information has only recently been discovered, and some of it is nothing but theory crafting. As such, all new info has been put in a complete section of the document. An effort is currently being made to fully revise the document. On September 29, 2020, a cannibal cuisine assaulted a group of 7 wanderers. The group reported that the ND attacked when one member of the group hit with a recently obtained crowbar for self-defense practice. The NC reportedly protruded large skeletal arms from a compartment on the top of its body and used it to slash at the Wanderers. It eventually ceased function after all 7 Wanderers attacked with various items, including bottles of lightning. The assault ended overall with only 1 casualty on the group's side. 7 survivors were compensated for their work. Dismounting the machine showed a storage area found in the back, which contained 3 abnormal human corpses, all in various levels of decay. These corpses were found to use their vocal cords to create quiet sounds akin to whispering. All attempts to decipher the whispering failed, all 3 bodies and their arms attached laid on the floor. A note was also found taped to the head of one of the bodies, reading the following: Henry Iris, Stephen Iris, Marvin Iris. One popular theory formed from this discovery was that the voices of ND36 victims here are produced by the corpses within the ND. On November 3, 2020, Meg researcher Alan Smith met with a group of armed MEG agents engaged in recently reported cannibal cuisine on Level 1. The ND was incapacitated with bottled lightning without fully killing it. This was accomplished with a single bottle of lightning alongside some blunt trauma. The incident was then dismantled, revealing the storage area. Notably, the storage area contained 3 corpses with 3 different first names than the previous 3. A nearby victim of NC-36 claimed to hear screams, while at the same time a head inside the machine was seen with its jaw agape, as if it was screaming. Food items from the ND were carefully collected and tested for human DNA within Base Omega. All equipment used in the testing subsequently broke down, becoming unusable. Incident Report 2. On November 24, 2020, a pair of Wanderers encountered a cannibal cuisine. A third individual, independent from the 2 who had already succumbed to these products and suffered the baseline effects. The victim expressed heavy emotional distress, claiming that he had been consuming flesh belonging to his sister and had been hearing her shriek into his ear. One person from the pair, having heard of the ND from a Meg researcher, attempted to explain how the cannibal cuisine functioned and how the screams were fabricated. Within 10 seconds, the ND produced skeletal arms from its bottom, using them as legs to pursue the Wanderer. Unable to escape, the Wanderer was subsequently clawed to death. The second Wanderer was able to flee the scene and contact Meg agents about the encounter. The corpse was eventually found nearby. The third individual was waiting for a restock of NC-36's products, oblivious to the presence of the body. Biology. Each cannibal cuisine contains 3 armless humanoid cadavers within its storage area, based on abnormal differences from human bodies, such as shorter legs, a lack of foot phalanges, and larger jaws. Considering these bodies human is at best questionable. Each one of them is given a name via a written index card taped to one of the bodies. All bodies seem to have to be given the last name Iris, with the first name varying on a case-by-case basis. The heads of each body are capable of opening their jaws to create sounds akin to whispering. Victims of NC-36 instead perceive these sounds as the panicking screaming of a victim's close family member or friend. A cannibal cuisine has 2 trapdoors, one found on the top of its body, the other on the bottom. These trapdoors can be opened seemingly at will by ND36. When opened, elongated skeleton and arms will appear from inside the contraption. Acting as feet if coming from the bottom trapdoor, the arms have measured up to 54 inches long and are coated in an unidentified metallic material. NG-36 seems to have full control over the arms and usually must use them as a form of transportation and to attack wanderers by swiping at them. The ND can be provoked by one attempting to inflict physical harm on the ND or its victims. This hostility can also be triggered if one attempts to explain the cannibal cuisine's anomalous effects to an afflicted wanderer. More specifically, the way of the corpse within the ND creates screaming noises. When provoked in the latter method, ND-36 displays much more hostility, agility, and strength. Either way, victims do not perceive the ND's movement nor any casualties it causes, reportedly observing the vending machine staying in one place. The ND will attack the offender until said offender either gets an unmeasured distance away from the victim, based off of encounters with the ND to be somewhere around 1/4 of a mile, or is killed by the cannibal cuisine or other means. As of now, this ability is suspected to be the result of some sort of high-tech artificial intelligence within NC36, capable of predicting whether select outcomes are occurring. It is theorized that cannibal cuisines perform these acts not due to necessity but due to some sort of instruction. Those who agree with this theory believe that the Iris family may have some involvement behind the behavior of ND36. Do's and don'ts. Do avoid ND36. Notify meg operatives upon finding a cannibal cuisine. Check the back of any vending machines you find to ensure they are normal vending machines. Don't purchase or consume any item from ND36. Don't interact with or attack wanderers afflicted by ND36. Now we are finally on NC37, and I'm going to let this white screen be a little thing to tell you that we are moving on, and that the cannibal talk is over. That was long. NC number 37. Habitats level 45, others. Curvature birds can only be found in any level with both a modest male death moth population and large empty areas that they can float through unimpeded. Okay. Description. The curvature birds are relatively large avians which prey on male death moths using a long sticky tongue to attract and trap them. They are mostly harmless when it comes to interactions with humans, as they will flee if they notice any creature larger than themselves approach. They are extremely slow, only able to locomote by flapping their nearly vestigial wings. Behaviors. The curvet bird is almost always in a nearly completely dormant state. They could spend days at a time floating in a single spot, only snapping into action when a perceived threat draws too close, or when a male death moth comes into contact with their tongue. The death moth is attracted to the bioluminescent tip of the curvature bird's tongue and will get stuck in highly adhesive saliva that coats it. Curvature birds are unable to consume female death moths and will avoid areas where they are present. These birds pose no threat to humans in almost any situation. They flee from humans, so even though they do have a sharp talon at the end of each of their legs, they aren't likely to use them. The only time that a curvature bird attacks a human is when it is trapped by one, which typically happens when they are being hunted. This is not a problem when they are attacked at range. Biology. Much of the biological information on the curvature bird has been provided on behalf of Dr. Escotic of the Backrooms Research Consortium. Alright. Perhaps the most striking feature of the curvature bird is the bioluminescent gel which it stores in the hump on its back. Despite the fact that this gel is semi-solid, it is significantly lighter than air, allowing the strange creature to stay airborne almost indefinitely. This substance, which I will henceforth refer to as curvature gel for simplicity's sake, has an incredible potential for practical uses. When extracted from the birds, the gel will maintain its light giving properties for up to several days. This window of usefulness can be extended almost indefinitely when the gel is exposed to a significant amount of heat. This means that a jar of curvature gel could serve as a constant light source in warmer levels of the backrooms. At the moment, me and my colleagues are attempting to find other practical applications for the gel. We believe that the properties that allow it to float on air could be incredibly useful in a wide swath of technologies. I have personally ruled out the possibility for its use as a foodstuff, as the gel has an incredibly acrid flavor and is much too acidic to safely swallow. Discovery: Curvature birds were discovered alongside level 45 and have since dispersed to many levels in which they find the habitat suitable. Do's and don'ts. Do use range weapon and rear when attempting to hunt this endy. Do keep the gel heated once harvested. Do bring any species, living or dead, to the biological research team of the Backrooms Research Consortium for a small reward. Don't grab by the tongue. Their saliva makes a dreadful mist, and it will make a good go at you with their talons. Entity 38. Humanoids. Well, at least there's a warning this time, unlike the last time we ran into this in the post. Content warning. This page includes suicide. If you're made uncomfortable by this, do not read or listen further. You know the drill. When I click on a new entity, the screen will turn completely white, so that will be in a few minutes. And I'm not doing the pause thing that I usually do. Description: Entity 38, commonly referred to as humanoids, are enigmatic yet ironically social humanoid entities that bear a striking resemblance to humans in various aspects. However, the majority of their physical attributes remain concealed in darkness, as they possess pitch black skin. Remarkably, these characters invariably exhibit either male or female characteristics. Extensive experimentation conducted by the MEG has determined that the biological gender of a humanoid can only be solely be identified through vocal characteristics, height, and bone structure, as they lack any distinguishing features. And I'm quite sure that even that on its own is probably not very telling of their gender at all. It is important to note that humanoids are not genetically related to humans despite their uncanny similarities. Despite their sociable nature and prevalent presence within the backrooms, humanoids remain one of the least explored and most mysterious entities. The multitude of unique variations among them conceals separate enigmas, making it unlikely that we will ever fully unveil the secrets surrounding these entities. The majority of humanoid variants display human tendencies, and possess sentience. They exhibit no signs of aggression unless provoked. However, it is essential to acknowledge that not all variants are inherently hospitable. Humanoids demonstrate exceptional proficiency with ranged weapons and possess as remarkable combat skills. The precise reason behind their aptitude in combat remains unconfirmed, although researchers speculate that genetic mutations and natural selection in their hostile environment have contributed to this distinct capability. Humanoids harbor an aversion to hostile entities such as facelings and skin stealers, often engaging in recreational killing of these entities. It is noteworthy that humanoids universally communicate fluently in English, utilizing various accents ranging from Western to South Asian. The means by which humanoids acquire fluency in English without external influence is currently undergoing examination, but is likely to remain unresolved. In exceptionally rare cases, humanoids communicate in an unidentified language that remains indecipherable to this day. Importantly, multiple voice recordings have been retrieved from interaction with these anomalous beings. Let's see those logs. Incoherent humanoid voice log 1. Alright, got the tape going. Yep, great. Hand me the mic. Alright, I don't know if if this recording will make it to the MG, but I sure hope it does. You gonna get to the point or not? Wait a goddamn moment! Rushing noises, presumably from movement and of microphone. Alright, so about a week ago, we met a humanoid that speaks a questionable language. I've never encountered a humanoid that spoke anything other than English. On top of that, it looks exactly the same as a normal one. Indistinct murmuring of another individual. I'll finish a statement, hand the microphone over to her. As we currently don't have a camera, the best thing I can do for you is describe the ending. As far as we can see, this guy seems no different from our normal variant. Let me try to talk to him. Rustling up microphone. It's okay, you can speak. I'm not even gonna try that. Do you understand English? Hmm. Sound however Eden can be heard as Meltu can be heard trying to calm the humanoid down. Well, buddy, we're not gonna hurt you. Please calm down. What's wrong with them? Huh? Calm down! Loud banging can be heard. Oh my god. What the hell? Humanoid can no longer be heard. He just threw himself into a wall. Is he dead? I think so. Look at all that blood. Holy shit. What do we do? Should we end the recording? I guess so, but I have a few more things to say. Hold on. I do not know what that humanoid was saying, but I suspect it to be a warning of some kind. By the time you find this tape, I'm not sure if we'll still be around. Echoing groan can be heard, cutting off whatever Melt it was about to say. You hear that? Clip cuts shortly after a loud crash is heard. Due to safety concerns, the original location of the tape has been classified and undisclosed. The two unidentified males mentioned in the recording remain unaccounted for, their whereabouts still unknown to this day. Thorough investigations into this event is currently underway, and preliminary evidence indicates the possibility of a specific variant of humanoids being subjected to a secondary influence from an unidentified source. Could it be mother? Again. Incoherent humanoid voice log 2. What the hell is that? Indistinct inked murmuring of incoherent speech is heard. I was walking through a dark area and now I hear this shit? The murmuring grows louder. Shit, 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 it's getting close. It's a humanoid? What the hell are you saying? I have no idea what you're talking about. Huh? Loud banging. Holy shit, what the hell are you doing? What the hell was that? Why did he kill himself? The remaining portion of the voice tape is severely damaged, rendering it mangled and torn. Alongside the fragment recording, an anomalous humanoid was discovered, deceased in close proximity to the location of its discovery. The autopsy conducted on humanoid revealed evidence of blood force trauma to the frontal skull, suggesting a probable case of suicide. Regrettably, the fate of the unidentified female mentioned in the voice tape remains unknown. Based on collective records of interactions with non-English speaking humanoids, there appears to be a disquieting connection between the disappearance of individuals who have encountered with these unique humanoid variants. Some researchers have become convinced that an external force is interfering with these interactions. Although the debate surrounding this theory remains ongoing. Compounding this suspicion is the fact that all encounters with humanoids have culminated in the humanoids carrying out a brutal and seemingly desperate form of self-inflicted demise. These observations provide further fuel for speculation and investigation into the unyielding factors at play. Habitats, majority of levels. The precise origin of humanoids remains undisclosed, shrouded in mystery within the realm of the backrooms. These entities are frequently observed throughout various sectors of the backrooms, with a notable presence in relatively safer levels, notably level 1 and level 4. Humanoids possess the capacity to manifest across an extensive array of levels within the backrooms. However, it is worth noting that in exceedingly perilous environments, humanoids are conspicuously absent, their presence being untenable due to the formidable threats posed by resident entities. Behaviors. Humanoids exhibit an amiable disposition towards humans, often utilizing the term brothers to address them. It is crucial to exercise caution and refrain from inciting these entities, as any form of provocation is likely to elicit a defensive response. Humanoids typically possess physical capabilities comparable to that of an average human and demonstrate a heightened level of intelligence. Biology. The entities referred to as humanoids exhibit distinct anatomical characters that deviate slightly from those of the average human. Notably, they lack internal organs, aside from a bluish brain-like organ situated within their head, as evidenced through autopsy findings. Analysis of their internal composition reveals the presence of red fluids abundant in iron, surpassing the iron content observed in standard human blood, and containing traces of copper. Their skin possesses a light and observing property, rendering it visually indistinguishable and presenting a deep black appearance, albeit discernible through tactile means. The surface of a humanoid skin exhibits a coarse texture and their body composition contains a lower proportion of water compared to humans. While water remains essential to both humanoids and wanderers, humanoids exhibit a increased water requirement for survival in comparison to humans. The dental structure of humanoids is composed of a similar material to that found in human teeth. Notably, humanoid minors undergo tooth loss. the genetic makeup of humanoids is exponential mutation rates, leading to a rapid emergence of new variants. However, it is noteworthy that humanoids lack the capacity to develop immunity to the disease due to limitations within their immune system's adaptive capabilities. Humanoid variants. Variants are classified by the color of their facial features. White-faced humanoids represent the most prevalent variant among humanoids encountered within the backroom's environment. Their frequency is notably high across level 1 through level 5. Despite their physical characteristics being confined to a uniform white expression, these variants exhibit human-like functionalities. Notably, white-faced humanoids serve as the quintessential embodiment of the humanoid indie, and are hypothesized to not be the very first, but one of the original ancestors of multiple common variants. Red-faced humanoids exhibit a notable lack of communication with both humans and other entities, including fellow humanoids. They primarily inhabit sublevels or areas characterized by a large presence of entities. The variants have undergone adaptations to mitigate the inherent dangers of their environments and possess the capacity to guide lost individuals to safety. Red-faced humanoids demonstrate exceptional physical strength, surpassing that of an average human by tenfold. Furthermore, they possess a remarkable ability to perceive their surroundings without any reliance on external illumination. Current consensus holds that these entities are a direct evolutionary offshoot of white-faced humanoids, prompted by an unidentified catalyst prompting migration and subsequent transformation. Regrettably, limited information exists regarding these variants, as establishing communication with them proves exceedingly challenging. Yellow-faced humanoids represent an exceptionally scarce presence within the primary levels, yet they stand out as one of the most resolute variants among humanoids. This is getting long. How much longer do I have? Okay, not much longer. We're almost done. Notably, they display a remarkable ability to effectively disregard the influence exerted by phobic centipede. Additionally, they have demonstrated survivability in the face of prolonged exposure to the mind-controlling capabilities of the mother within level 1.5. The evolutionary factors contributing to the development of its variant to its current state have encompassed encounters with metaphysical entities and exposure to mind-altering environments that may have been uninhabited inhabited in the past. Notably, the acquisition of this ability from yellow-faced humanoids themselves remains unattainable. These variants are exceedingly rare and exhibit an antisocial disposition, resulting in limited available information and an absence of documented recordings pertaining to verbal interactions. The aforementioned insights have been derived from meticulous long-range observations. While yellow-faced humanoids probably evade human presence upon detection. Blue. Limited knowledge is available regarding blue-faced humanoids, as a dwindling population currently inhabits level 6. Communication by blue-faced humanoids occurs in English, albeit at ultra-low frequencies perceptible to humans solely as low-pitched static. These variants typically exhibit a propensity for frowning, with an anomalous behavior of displaying smiles in response to contracting any form of illness. It is noteworthy that blue-faced humanoids are twice as susceptible to diseases compared to typical humanoids. Morphologically, they only manifest as tall and lanky entities, attaining heights reaching up to 10 feet. Despite their imposing physical appearance, documented evidence has revealed no instances of aggressive behavior displayed by this variant of humanoid. The reasons underlying the strikingly minimal population of blue-faced humanoids remains elusive, resisting comprehension and resolution. These variants tend to avoid contact with humans, though interaction may be feasible if consumables are offered to them. While the genetic lineage of blue-faced humanoids remains uncertain, prevailing theories suggest that their potential descent from red-faced humanoids following an unexplained transition across levels. Researchers have drawn attention to an unsettling resemblance between these variants and the deceased entity known as the late party poopers. They aren't deceased, they're actually wanderers, believe it or not. However, thorough investigations have confirmed the absence of any genetic connection between these entities, implying independent evolutionary paths linked to their shared resemblance. The origins and mechanisms driving this convergence continue to elude scientific comprehension, fostering an eerie air of intrigue and enigma surrounding blue-faced humanoids. Green. Green-faced humanoids are exceptionally infrequently encountered among variations among humanoids, possessing the unique capability of traversing between the realm of virtual reality and physical reality. Physically, they assume the appearance of a standard humanoid with the exception of their green face, yet they possess the ability to render themselves imperceptible while existing within their digital manifestation. These entities exhibit a marked preference for inhabiting electronic devices rather than maintaining a physical presence, potentially driven by a self-preservational instinct. Remarkably, green-faced humanoids possess the uncanny capacity to effortlessly circumvent firewalls and digital security barriers, granting them unrestricted access to classified digital documents and confidential information. Over time and through gradual social interactions, these variants could develop amicable associations with individuals, thereby facilitating the exchange of vital information. However, the population of green-faced humanoids has experienced a steady decline due to the rise of digital entities. As a consequence, their presence has become increasingly scarce and enigmatic, heightening the sense of unease surrounding their existence. Turquoise. Turquoise-faced humanoids, characterized by their tall and slender physique, represent a notable humanoid variant renowned for their exceptional physical strength, thus earned them the informal moniker of steroid humanoids. In contrast to the sedentary nature of red-faced humanoids, these humanoids are nomadic in nature, perpetually traversing the vast expanse of the backrooms. Notably sociable, turquoise-faced humanoids actively engage in reconnaissance and delivery tasks, offering assistance to organizations such as the MEG and VNTG. Based on observations, it is plausible to surmise that turquoise-faced humanoids trace their lineage back to red-faced variants, as their formidable strength bears resemblance to that of their presumed progenitors. Orange. Subsequent to a pivotal incident, the fundamental nature of these variants underwent an astonishing transformation, rendering their behaviors and capabilities unrecognizable. In response, concerted relocation efforts were initiated, effectively isolating these enigmatic entities in an undisclosed location. Despite persistent endeavors, the legendary variants in question have eluded discovery, shrouded in an impenetrable veil of secrecy. Following extensive debates, all documentation pertaining to vital information regarding these variants was systematically eradicated or rendered classified, thereby depriving us of any authoritative knowledge concerning our distinct attributes. Remains unequivocal is the irreversible alteration that transpired, whereby these entities cease to embody the essence of typical humanoids, metamorphosing metamorphosing into an altogether different malevolent entity. The incident itself, a chronicle cloaked in ambiguity, unfolded as a series of events orchestrated by an unidentified collective. These shadowy assemblies suspect these variants to direct these variants to an unknown object or entity, resonating their alarming in transformation. Notably, the specifics regarding the nature and origin of this object or entity remained largely veiled in obscurity, contributing to the enigmatic aura surrounding the incident. Gray. Gray-faced humanoids exhibit a biological identity to that of white-faced humanoids. However, these particular variants display a different set of characteristics characterized by their aggressive and carnivorous nature, as well as their heightened intelligence compared to standard entities found within the backrooms. The similarities shared between gray-faced and white-faced humanoids can often lead to fatal consequences, as the former demonstrates an immediate and relentless propensity to attack upon visual detection. Notably, gray-faced humanoids possess a physical strength structure indistinguishable from that of a normal humanoid. I cannot say words right now. Static. The static-faced humanoid exhibits a slightly tall stature and a commanding presence with notable broad shoulders. Their facial expression remains fixed in a perpetual smile, even during verbal communication. While the static patterns adorning their face remain unchanging and impervious to external factors, these enigmatic variants display significant divergence both mentally and physically from other known humanoid variations. While fluent in the English language, static-faced humanoids employ an archaic form of English dialect reminiscent of the linguistic style employed in the era of Shakespeare. This linguistic peculiarity may correlate with their extensive biological age, as discerned through analysis of bodily fluids. The average lifespan of a static-faced humanoid varies greatly, but is estimated to be around 400,000 to 700,000 years, raising conjecture regarding the existence of distinct ancient humanoid dialects or possibly an entirely different language altogether. However, concrete evidence and support for such claims remains absent, given that another long-lived humanoid variant, given that static-faced humanoid is represent the sole known long-lived variant. Due to absent comparative data from other long-lived humanoid variants, the true nature of this linguistic phenomenon may remain elusive. Or maybe just be that they like how Shakespearean time people talked and decide to mimic it. Notably, static-faced humanoids demonstrated a heightened level of sagacity and intelligence. I don't know what that word means. Surpassing even that of the partygoers. Despite their imposing appearance, static-faced humanoids do not display any hostile tendencies owing to their elusive nature and declining population. Locating these humanoid variants poses a considerable challenge. Nevertheless, several static-faced humanoids have been apprehended and subjected to interrogation in order to glean information on their whereabouts. A particular individual of interest is a variant identifying himself as Arthur and boasting a remarkable age of 913,549 years. The insights shared by Arthur during these interrogations have elicited concerns among researchers, prompting further scrutiny and introspection into established knowledge. The ensuing section features documented voice logs obtained from these interrogations. First, we have Alice 854110. Alright, we got the video rolling. Good, I'll talk to her shortly. Several minutes of murmuring and brushing noises follow. Alright. Chair creaks from Overseer 2 sitting on it. Greetings, Alice. How's your day going today? My day doth fare well. Oh, I thank thee kindly. Alright, Alice, so we want to ask you some questions regarding your past and backgrounds. Verily thou mayest inquire. First off, Alice, how were you born? What do you remember from your birth? 'Tis a peculiar circumstance, forsooth. Though my memory may be shrouded in clouds, I thus like being brought forth into this world within a humble shack, guided by my mother. Alright. Overseer 2 can be heard writing things on paper. Do you remember anything strange regarding your childhood? A moment of silence occurs as you can hear Alice breathing. Alice's voice lowers to a whisper. I am uncertain if I may utter these words aloud. Please do, Alice. In my youthful days, I doth recall a troop of kin akin to mine own. We as children were tethered close, restricted by a wall, erected as by village elders. I, a tender lass at that time, bear in mind the ill-advised misstep of my elder brother, who disregarded parental caution with dire consequences. Ah, what happened to your elder brother? Once he traversed the wall, I did tarry long, awaiting his homecoming in vain. Alas, he never returned. To my side, we were unable to dispatch any soul beyond the wall. Forsooth, as entry into its dominion was deemed impossible. Whatever dwelt yonder forbade our passage, denying us access to its abode. Do you recall any instance or any of the force that was keeping everybody within the walls? Alice fidgets for a moment before answering. We, as a youthful brood, remained ignorant of what lay beyond. Our elders spun tales of an endless maze wherein any who dared venture were met with a dire curse. A labyrinth boundless and treacherous, governed by a being who ensnared wanderers in perpetual captivity, forever trapping those who dared enter his realm. Your elders, they told you about a being? Verily, they did regale us with such tales, aiming to dissuade our wanderlust. Yet in my tender years I harbored doubts, and scarce did I truly embrace the narratives of spun. Well, I clung to that belief until what? Please go on. Until the dawning of my adulthood, when tranquillity of my childhood abode shattered into fragments, I, scarcely older than thou, beheld a horrifying intrusion. The azure expanse encircling us rent asunder, yielding into a mono-yellow realm. Passageways materialized in frenzied haste, defying comprehension. Our once serene void became plagued by myriad colors, numerous in shape, size, and hue. A host of unfamiliar beings scuttled amidst my ken through the turmoil. Oh, through the turmoil we forged, persisting within this labyrinth until we were severed from one another's embrace. The ways of old proved futile in this alien realm, and our confusion then mirrored the befuddlement that grips me still. Perhaps the indeed spoken of in our childhood lore bore truth's weight. Forsooth, the events that unfolded as doubt upon the notion of mere tales. Thy witness not being in the first hand, the swiftness of transformation aligns with the reputed abilities attributed to the being of our narratives. I see. Recording ends abruptly. Alice was relocated to level 1 and currently resides there. Now we have the voice log of Arthur, 913549. Recording starts rather abruptly with no introduction. Alright, my partner isn't here today, so I will talk with you today. Pray, pose thy queries, my friend. Thy presence here doth engender a great intrigue within me as well. What dost thou wish to inquire about? Alright, let's get to the point, Arthur. What are the things you have experienced in your past that you believe serves great importance? I have several queries, yet the foremost in my mind revolves around a distressing event wherein my humble kin were ruthlessly separated by the abrupt alteration of our surroundings. 'Twas a sight truly terrifying to behold. In the blink of an eye, our tranquil void transmuted into a labyrinthine network, as if vines sprawling upon a sturdy wall. We mere witnesses could not but observe and strive to remain united. Alas, our efforts proved futile, though they remained our sole chance of ever reuniting. 'Twas akin to witnessing the birth of a deity, with a multitude of occurrences transpiring incoherently, beyond the grasp of mortal comprehension. Ah. Or one's ear can be heard writing intensely. So what you're telling me is that at one point, about 850 years ago, there was a sudden explosion that created the labyrinth that we reside in today. Verily, though my knowledge be confined, mine own eyes did witness a detonation at birth, this particular section of the labyrinth. However, my heart doth long for my true abode, a place distant and remote. Oh, how I yearn to be for the tranquil void of Hazir, where peace reigns supreme. Void of Azir? That sounds quite familiar. Aye, the words of the blue void of serenity, though devoid of much, provides solace, a haven where we could dwell, untouched by harm or strife, yet also not of value, may endure indefinitely. A long period of silence follows. I think I have everything I need for today. Thank you for talking with me. No problem, my friend. Recording ends. Arthur was later released and not heard from since. The prevailing consensus posits that the origin of these sack-faced humanoids can be tracked back to localized clusters of matter within the Blue Channel, predating an incident that led to their into the internal environment of the backrooms. Extensive research suggests that the age of the stag-faced humanoid surpasses that of the conventional or white-faced humanoid, with historical accounts spanning well over a millennia. Speculation among scholars has emerged, contemplating the possibility of the stag-faced humanoid serving as the ancestral precursor to the white-faced variants. However, sustaining evidence to support this opposition remains elusive. In essence, the enigmatic nature of these stag-faced humanoids presents intriguing narratives and captivating tales. Captivating the imagination of researchers. Discovery. In 1991, the initial encounter with these entities took place on level 4, involving an engagement between a MEG member and a group of hounds. The entities were observed engaging in combat, utilizing firearms and melee weapons. Reinforcements were dispatched to the location, resulting in the successful neutralization of the hounds. When questioned about their origin, the leader of the group claimed to have transitioned from another level, although they were unable to recall any details regarding their surroundings. Subsequent to this initial encounter, additional sightings of these humanoids occurred across various levels, with each entity exhibiting a similar absence of memory regarding their point of origin. Limited further interrogation was conducted in relation to these entities. The BDC. After the establishment of the BDC, Background Defense Coalition, a notable phenomenon has been observed, whereby a growing number of humanoids seek refuge within its ranks. In reciprocation, these humanoids actively engage in combat alongside other amicable entities to confront the numerous hostile entities present within the backrooms, leveraging their adeptness in firearms and precision aiming. Humanoids often spearhead ranged attacks and execute stealth missions. This contribution has resulted in a steady increase in the presence of humanoid personnel within the BDC, further enhancing its capabilities and effectiveness in encountering the threats within the backrooms. The second mind anomaly. Multiple instances of abnormal behaviors in humanoids have been meticulously documented, specifically occurring during periods of sleep or while under the influence of substances. It is important to note that these peculiar interactions have been exclusively observed in humanoids, with a limited occurrence rate involving only 14 individuals. Stage 1. Host induced unconsciousness. Upon entering a state of unconsciousness induced either through natural sleep or the administration of substances, no remarkable anomalies have been observed at this initial stage. I cannot say words. I'm getting tired. Stage 2. Host exhibits abnormal heartbeat and minor bodily changes. Subsequent to entering unconsciousness, the heartbeat exhibits irregular patterns, deviating from the expected norm by displaying an increased and uneven rhythm. Simultaneously, there are no noble pulsations in the vocal cords of the host. Stage 3. Host enters in bodily movement. Signs of bodily movement manifest during this stage, initially limited to slight muscular twitches. Over time, the host gradually transitions into more pronounced movements, eventually assuming a seated or standing position. Stage 4. Host vocalizes in an unknown language. A noteworthy development occurs as the host begins to communicate in an undocumented language, defying any known linguistic classification within or beyond the backrooms. The uttered phrases or sentences appear to convey messages or inquiries, yet researchers have been unable to comprehend or decipher their meaning. Intriguingly, upon meticulous examination, it has been discerned that the speech pattern of these incoherent speaking humanoids aligns precisely with that of humanoids engaged in the second mind anomaly. Stage 5. Host returns to unconsciousness. Approximately 30 minutes subsequent to the initiation of Stage 4, the host collapses, regaining consciousness after a duration of 4 to 5 hours. Curiously, the host retains no memory of the interaction that transpired, seamlessly resuming their customary life without any further noticeable abnormalities. These stages outline the distinct progression observed during instances of the second mind anomaly in humanoids. Further research and analysis are imperative to unravel the underlying mechanisms and implications of this perplexing phenomenon. Additional, additional information. Humanoids are immune to the effects of fire salt. Faceless humanoids do not exist. Interesting. Do's and don'ts. Do initiate social interactions with humanoids. It is indeed possible, and they have been known to exhibit civilized behavior, establishing a friendly connection and fostering a sense of camaraderie with humanoids is feasible under appropriate circumstances. If an entity approaches without any verbal communication, displaying characteristics that deviate from those of a humanoid, it is advisable to exercise caution and promptly retreat from the situation. Differentiating between a genuine humanoid and a potentially hostile entity is crucial for personal safety. In the event that unattended attack is carried out against a humanoid without malicious intent, sending a sincere apology is recommended. Humanoids possess a degree of common sense and understanding, and they may be forgiving if they perceive the absence of malicious intent behind the act. Don't engage in physical altercation with a humanoid, whether for amusement or with malicious intent. Will provoke a defensive response from the entity. Humanoids possess the capability to retaliate in such situations. In encounters involving an aggravated humanoid armed with firearms, it is advised to prioritize evasive action rather than engaging in a confrontation. These entities demonstrate exceptional marksmanship, and any attempts to resist or flee may result in immediate fatality. Introducing a substance known as memory juice to humanoid its consumption can have distressing consequences. When a humanoid is fed this substance, a painful transformation occurs, leading to their transmogrification into aggressive entities reminiscent of the infamous Smiler. Caution is strongly advised when considering such actions, as they can have dire implications. Also, you seek? Oh, no. That was so long. Just two more, and then we have to end the video. NC-39 Organoguns. Description: Organoguns, otherwise documented as NC-39, are plant-like entities that take the form of various types of firearms. Organoguns are harmless entities unless tampered with, so wanderers who are especially cautious should steer clear of them. Habitat: instances of ND39 are commonly sighted in levels with dense and moist flora in their confines. This is their natural habitat. However, organoguns that sprout from bullets are significantly more resilient, allowing them to grow just about anywhere. Behavior: the entity in its natural state remains motionless, its stems attached to the ground until uprooted by a person or entity. It sucks nutrients from the ground and extends its roots rather deep for a plant of its size. This is because it requires a large amount of iron to live and maintain its outer shell. If it remains untouched for a long period of time, approximately 2 weeks, it will begin to rot and wilt. This requirement for iron, among other factors, have caused them to evolve into parasites that feed off of human blood until their needs have been satisfied. Additionally, organoguns are able to produce a substance capable of dramatically accelerating the production of red blood cells in one's body. This substance is administered once they latch onto their host, and is harmless aside from light fatigue as long as one has a healthy heart, due to the entity siphoning most of these extra cells into it. So, this does, however, have a side effect of causing the husk of the red blood cells, devoid of iron, to ooze from the barrel of the gun. When tampered with, organoguns will feast on human blood in exchange for their use as a firearm. The ND's ability to produce the incendiary component of ammunition on its own is considered extra normal. After extensive research, it has been determined that the guns fire using fire salt rather than the more popular front ribs explosive gunpowder. Warning: use of organic guns can prove fatal for those with any sort of diabetes, anemia, or heart condition. Do not try to replicate the process below if this applies to you. In order to shoot an organic gun, one must first uproot from the ground. This takes a considerable amount of force and can be difficult for those who are particularly unsuitable to fight identity. If you are unable to uproot an organic gun, take it as a warning. Do not attempt to fire a gun that you cannot uproot on your own, as you will not be able to keep it stable. After uprooting an organic gun, its roots will detach from the ground and instead attach to the individual that uprooted it, inserting its roots into one's veins. NC-39 will then suck out an adequate amount of blood to be able to create ammunition. Depending on the type of firearm and the bullets necessary for it, this can range from a minor inconvenience to an anemia hazard. Regardless, once the gun has been loaded, its roots will detach from its host, able to be utilized to one's wishes. The ND can be stored safely away in a box or case, safely separating it from one's skin. I'm almost passing out. I'm oddly tired today. Biology. Organic guns take the appearance of a variety of standard guns that can typically be found in the front rooms, with the exception of its roots, which when planned or being actively used, extend from the grip of the gun. The roots are barely noticeable when latched onto the ground. However, when pulled, they reach around the entirety of one's hand and forearm, taking the appearance of miniature tree roots, and only allowing the palm of the handle to be seen. When contacting the skin, the roots feel abnormally frigid for a few seconds before they fill up with blood, eliciting varied reactions from hosts. The ND will then plummet in temperature as its roots retract into the gun, subsequent to having its fill. Organoguns take the form of a myriad of standard firearms, the most common of which ranging from Glock 19s to AK-47s, though less conventional models have rarely been documented. The ND is able to take on such a bizarre form due to the environment that it appears in. Organic guns use mineral and metal deposits underground to form their signature metal carapace. This is a very important aspect of the ND's biology, as it if a first generation organic gun were to originally sprout in an environment deprived of metal deposits, it would possess significantly less structural integrity, likely leading to malfunctions. However, wanderers are recommended to use their fingers to thoroughly check the texture of the ND to sense any discrepancies between it and a standard firearm. The internal structure of the ND is much more complex than its exterior. Studies conducted on NC-39 have concluded that the blood collected by the roots of the ND enter through the inside of the handle, which briefly exposes a living plant-like organism inhabiting it. The blood travels through the plant, and some of the blood condenses as the ND releasing is some dormant nitroglycerin among a plethora of different substances in order to fill its magazine. Bullets form within a hidden compartment between the grip and magazine of the ND, and once formed can be fired roughly the same effect as their front rim's counterparts. Organic guns have recently been discovered to carry microscopic seeds that lay dormant until necessary. Unable to be seen without the assistance of a microscope, these seeds only become active when bullets are formed, as seeds are implanted into the bullets. This is organic gun's sole form of reproduction aside from leaving their seeds behind after that. The actual reproductive process of organic guns is quite simple. When the ND is shot, the bullet itself will sprout into a resilient seed, able to break through almost any surface, aside from metals and such, of course, to root itself into soil. Such organic gun variants are not uncommon in levels with completely paved floors, such as level 1. Do's and don'ts. Do exercise caution around the ND at all time. Only use organic guns if necessary and if fully equipped and safe to do so. Avoid inadvertent skin contact with the ND by storing it in a box or case. Have someone with you while using an organic gun in case you lose consciousness. Don't use organic guns if you have anemia, omatosis, diabetes, or any other blood-related issues. Don't use the ND if you are unable to operate the gun. Don't use the ND too frequently. Last one for today, it's D40. This one is taking a minute to load. Also, I wonder how much trouble I'm gonna get. Just as a note, this page does involve mentions of fecal matter. If you don't like or are disturbed by these two things, I recommend not reading this page for your own benefit. So if you're watching the video, I recommend skipping to the outro or just leaving the video right now. Let's begin. I can't freaking believe this. Why have you all given me this to write? I've seen you buggers write about magic eldritch women in libraries, levels that final destination you, objects that are literal or lightning inside jars. And what do I get? A bird that unshits itself. Great. Fucking excellent. Real funny one, you bunch of pricks. I'm going to write this as well. You know, just despite each and every one of you that made this stupid thing the first page I'm writing for this database. Looking at you, Maddie. Entry number 40. Habitats, level 9, level 11, level 69, level 172, level 200, level 230, and level 566. Description: NC40 are an extremely common, almost invasive species to the backrooms levels that it inhabits. Though birds can often be a common sight to wanderers of the backrooms depending on various amount accounts and who's asked, not all birds are classed as NC40, with only around 33% of all avian-based backrooms inhabitants being derivative of this entity. Biology. Visually, NC40 resembles typical pigeons that would typically be found populating rather urban and lived-in environments, most of western towns and cities. Their bodies are rather large and wide and are undoubtedly the largest part of their structure, being rather pudgy and squishy to hold. The soft texture of their body mass is heightened by the relatively soft feathers that coat their skin, coming in various shades of gray depending on how close feathers come to the neck or tail, with both of those latter being in a more dark gray than the light. Almost cloud or smoke gray that the feathers are comprised of. Their wings are large and allow for birds to prolong the somewhat strategic flight, though often not for any longer than about 10 to 15 seconds. The feathers on these parts of the birds are are the same as the body, save for a double O banding of darker gray on the tips of them. Their necks are rather flat and blubbery and have often been considered a somewhat cute part of their anatomy because of this, and how oddly it makes the head seem scale-wise, which is something often shared with how people tend to view the bodies of these creatures. The heads, as described earlier, are rather small in comparison to everything else on their body, is bearing their feet. They contain two beady eyes and a basic yet sharp enough beak. The beak isn't actually used for eating as... you know what? I'll explain that all in the next bit. Behaviors. Well, frick. Here we go. While initially it come across an extremely basic, almost one-to-one replicas of typical birds, the rather numerous SE40 possess one distinctly differential and somewhat disturbing characteristic. NT40 unshits themselves, absorbs crap on the ground and brings it back into their own bodies, are known to force species from the ground back into their own rear ends during periods of flight. Okay, all of that was crossed out, so what did they actually do? NC40 have the somewhat unsightly and morbid ability to suddenly cause previously dropped bird excrements to quickly shoot up and become a part of them. To describe in terms appropriate for the database as pre-chosen age demographic. How this process is done is ultimately unknown, as no examinations of both the birds and excrement have shown any forms of alternate mass, composition, any release, or anything that otherwise be out of the ordinary for birds or their stools. As well as this, the droppings when having left the ground will become almost unstoppable. Frictionless objects, if a cover of some description is placed over the droppings and left at their scheduled time to rejoin with their buried, the stool will easily rip through the material as if it had been covered by without any change in speed in order to be close. This effect has previously been lethal. Check the 2017 bird dropping incident within the pre-grouping notes. Which is why it's advised to exercise caution when on any form of bird excrement, as at any point, one could swiftly be executed by droppings re-entering at an NT40. In fact, as of, I'm going to go with April 5th, 2022, have been found on various birds of level 13 a 2022 13-1 incident, which have frequently caused holes everywhere. Right the way until 13 of the news side. The event has caught in the idea that these droppings are not created from birds, but rather instead just spawn or appear in as a strange form of food for you. Though to an untrained eye it may seem impossible to detect when bird droppings may rip upwards into the sky, or which droppings are ones that can rip up into the heavens, the MOD has answers to the first of those questions. I mean, just avoid bird poop. It's not that hard. A few seconds after dropping on the ground, they will often act like toward the bird in question, with any loose parts on the ground tilting or moving towards the creature, usually having about 10 seconds before the blast occurs. Witnesses to events like these have described them as oddly terrifying, even more so than the usual standard photos as these same people have done before. It was just like this shit. Just being in level 11 with my group of people and just seeing a bunch of shit rise up from the ground into the back arses of pigeons. I mean, have you ever seen that? Because I have. I never had it until that day. Scary shit, I tell ya. David Getson. January 5th, 2023. We're just going with European, because why not? Discovery. Though it has been known that these indies exist in some way, shape, or form since the discovery of level 9 in late 2012, the actual official discovery and documentation of NE40 was only possible in mid-2014 when former MEG operative Jacob Garris was successfully able to capture one of the birds using a large net taken from 77.2 from level 7.2. Previous ethics upheld by the MEG forbid the dissection of the creature, with it simply being given a inspection of how it looked, which was informally drawn down outside of the database, then set free back into level 9. For the longest time, this one report earning capturing of an NC40 was the only official documentation of the species. Even after 2017, the knowledge of this ND was extremely sparse and odd mishap, given the simplicity that would come with simply jotting down and documenting such a simple species. However, with the formation of the MEOD on October 7th, 2022, writing about this ND came into the forefront of the organization's mind. Huh, I was right. Did it. Fuck. As such, on November 4th, 2023, the page for NZ40 was finally created and finally written by one Avery Lanes, written in the most honest, professional, and clean way as one possibly can, without having to make paragraphs about a bird that Leary puts shit back into its anus. Do's and don'ts. Do stay far away from birds and their droppings, as a can often mean the close proximity, which, under rare happenstance, is possibly lethal. Don't stand above the droppings, as if the unidentified occurs, there is a 100% mortality rate for whoever does so. That was entities 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40 of the back rooms. And me almost falling asleep while reading entity 38. I don't know, I kind of lost. I forget the numbers. If you like this video, please leave a like on the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, so until then, goodbye!